Hello and good morning, everyone. It's me again, Jaslina, your RJ on Hits FM. I hope everyone doing good and best wishes to you all. So we have special guests to discuss about modernization theory and the issue of poverty in Pak Wakan Sarikei Sarawak. Before we go into the discussion, I would like to introduce the guest of the day. We have Professor Nani as Sociology Consultant from Department of Sociology in University of Malaysia of Sarawak, UNIMAS. Dr. Ella as Sociology Consultant from Faculty of Social Sciences in University of Technology, UITM. Mr. Amir as Village Head and Mr. Tri from Pak Wakan Sarikei. Therefore, to kick off our conversation, I would want to begin with Professor Nani. Good day, Professor. If you could, please brief us on the modernization theory.
Hello, it was a very honor for me to be here as a consultant for today's radio show. In general, modernization theory refers to a body of theory that became prominent in the 1915s and 1916s in relation to understanding issue of economic and social development and in creating policies that will assist economic and social transition in poorer countries. The various components of modernization theory receive critiques out, sorry, from the outset, but their influence within policymaking endured for a significant period. It found that the theories of modernization are still relevant as today in the study of development.
Yes, Dr. Ella, I was wondering what your thoughts were on the philosophy of modernization.
Hello, I would like to express my gratitude to Madam Jaslina for inviting me to participate in the discussion program that was held on the topic of modernization theory and the problem of poverty in Wak Pakan Sarikei Sarawak. Before I delve any further into the subject, allow me to provide a brief overview of the modernization hypothesis. The term modernization theory refers to a body of thought that attempts to provide an explanation for the evolution of civilization via the application of various concepts. The term transition model refers to a concept that describes how countries go from being impoverished to becoming prosperous. We are also able to apply the idea to a specific location, such as the little town of Wak Pakan, which is located in the Sarikei district.
Oh, wow, this is my first time I am hearing that theory modernization can be a solution for poverty issue. Thanks for that, Dr. Ella. Well, regarding on poverty issue on Wapakan, nature and the characteristic of the issue.
I would like to extend my gratitude to the moderator for inviting me to participate in this program. I'm a local of the town of Wak Pakan Sarikei. In my opinion, the most significant issue that frequently affect the people in my town is not a recent development. I am a resident of this village, and I believe that the issue of education is the primary issue facing my community. I agree with the viewpoint of my village head, who said that this is the case. Nevertheless, I believe that the issue of advancing the supply of public amenities is something that also has to be taken into consideration. When compared to the metropolitan region, it appears that the development that has been brought about by the government is likewise going a slow patch. When we consider the topic of transportation, we will also see that there are some regions in which we continue to go around on board. This made life tough for the villager because the lack of strength in the form of bad road infrastructure. which force us to take a significant amount of time to go from one location to another. All of these factors will contribute to the community experiencing negative repercussion, which in turn will make it more challenging for other development to come to my region. For instance, the absence of road facilities will make it impossible for many people to obtain comprehensive hospitality amenities, and as a result, growth in the village will be slow as a result of this problem. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Amir, what is your opinion on the specific nature and the characteristic of the issue?
Okay. Answering the question that have been raised regarding the issue that have arisen before, that Sarawak in 2020 was listed in the top 3 poorest state with a rate of 12.9%, followed by Kelantan and Sabah, which ranked first. Wak Pekan is one of the area that contribute to the issue. They are unable to work in high income skill based job in urban area and must bear high cost of living in the city. The situation was exacerbated by COVID-19, which many lost their jobs and other lost working hours. And not only that, but most of them are also still practicing traditional occupations like agriculture and not to industry. Most of the people here still go paddy, raise chickens and other that focus on small sales.
Yeah, just now Dr. mentioned that theory modernization is a solution to the poverty issue in Wak Pakan. Could you please tell us thus the strength of the modernization theory, Dr. Ella?
Yeah, sure. Modernization idea is incorporated in science education to address underdevelopment in third world nations. Science education was a must. It makes reference to the value system, self-motivation and capital, which is combination of social, psychological and economic elements. Finally, modernization theory supports the necessity for industrialization to grow the traditional civilization must, must examine ways and means of becoming an industrial state. So in my opinion, to improve village like Wak Pakan, I strongly urge to emphasize modernization theory, which believe industrialization is a sole approach to develop the rural region like Pak Wakan in Sarikei.
Professor Nani is sociology consultant from Department of Sociology in University of Malaysia of Sarawak. Do you think that this modernization theory has weakness?
To social sciences, every theory has their own strength and weakness. The modernization theory is criticized for failing to consider the poor as the centerpiece in poverty reduction initiatives. By ignoring the involvement and participations of the target community, modernity achieved the marginalizations of their commitment, creativity, and support of the intervention strategies. The intervention strategies becomes an import strategy, and such a strategy fails to construct edu- educated notions of both the causal power of social structures and the rules of human agency in shaping social relations in general. Modernization theory has much in common with the culture of poverty. It attributes the poverty of poor nations to their failure to develop the proper beliefs, values, and practice necessary for economic success, for both at the beginning of industrialization during the 19th century. Because modernization theory implies that people in poor nations do not have the talent and ability to improve their lot, it may be considered a functionist functionalist explanations of global inequality. Modernization theory places too much blame on poor nations for their own poverty and ignores the long history of exploitation of poor nations by rich nations and multinational corporations alike.
Dr. Ella, does the theory provide a particular perspective of development problem? Also, what are the merits? Could you please clarify it?
In this particular scenario, I would argue that the theory of modernization offers a very intriguing perspective on the problem of progress. It is common knowledge that poverty in Wapakan is a serious concern. In order to address this issue and find a solution, I strongly recommend adopting a more current philosophical perspective. As a consequence of this, the people who live in the hamlet will have the option to secure work, which will enable them to improve their standard of life. Therefore, it is plainly clear that idea of modernization offers a huge potential for tackling the issue of poverty. This is a problem that has been greatly accelerated in recent years. The merits for modernization theory, the idea behind modernization is that older, more established civilization would eventually become more technologically adept if they adopt newer, more modern ways of doing things. The argument put up by supporters of the modernization thesis is the modern governments are not only wealthier and more powerful, but also that their population are more liberated to take pleasure in a higher standard of living. In addition to this, they feel that contemporary states enjoy a greater standard of living overall. The idea of modernization portrays development as a normal evolutionary trajectory that all civilizations follow, progressing from agriculture, rural, and traditional culture to post-industrial, industrial, urban, and contemporary forms of organization.
Okay, how about you, Professor Nani? Does the theory provide a particular perspective of development problem? Also, what are the demerits?
Modernization is a conceptual framework that articulated a common set of assumptions about the nature of developed societies and their ability to transform a world perceived as both materially and culturally deficient. deficient. Specifically, modernization theories foisted a sharp distinction between traditional and modern societies. They look They took for granted that economic development from traditional to modern proceeded along a single thread and unambiguous line. Modernization advocates expected that contact with vital modern societies would accelerate progress in stagnant traditional societies. Although modernization benefits humankind with a great deal of comforts, some concern causes several problems for both mankind and the ecosystem. Some major issues that contribute to the cons of modernization are associated with dangerous setback. First, modernization theory causes clashes of tradition. Technological revolution may have brought drastic changes in the way of living, but people with fewer resources may rely on traditional system of survival and growth. Traditionalists tend to maintain a status quo that often conflict with the new generation ideas leading to social conflict. Modern escape may have beautified society and eased humans' living standard, but evolving technology still pose a threat to the environment. Natural and non-renewable sources of energy are still widely used, which not only disturb the ecosystem but also puts natural sources at the brink of extinction. RAM use of natural resources at an industrial scale is one of the major drawbacks of modernization.
Okay, Mr. Ame is a Wapakan village head. Sorry, what do you hope for this village?
As a villagers, My expectation is that the government must invest in skill development to boost productivity, raise income, and elevate poverty in rural regions. Furthermore, rural areas require additional funding to increase infrastructure development, initiatives such as roads and small rural projects, which will stimulate economic growth and offer more job prospects for the before goals. In addition, we also need to improve the existing system and reduce bureaucracy to speed up the process of providing financial, physical, and emotional support, as well as strengthen support such as community managed food banks, such as religions and community institutions that can help the community quickly. And besides that, the government also need to develop an information system for the poor to ensure they have access and knowledge with requisite information on income, earning opportunities, job support, and capacity building program for their family members to increase their resilience. Finally, not to forget, the care of the environmental system, the flora and the fauna should be taken care of by creating forest reserves in this area in maintaining environmental sustainability. So that's all for me.
Okay, how about you, Mr. Tree? What do you hope for this village?
Thank you to Miss Joslina. My expectation are that more amenities, including those related to education, healthcare, and economy, will be made available in my community as I continue to make progress. In my hometown, each of these establishment is an essential amenities for the local population. In the future, I have high hopes that the elected official will be able to further enhance the amenities in this area. In addition, one of my goals for the future of the communities in which I live is for the youngest people, particularly those who have experience in various professional fields and can offer well-reasoned suggestion for how the village can be assist in its process of urbanization to introduce a new ideology of progress. As a resident of the village, will acknowledge that and appreciate the positive step that the government has done to enhance my community. Thank you.
Okay, lastly, I would like to ask about the views to the local community from Professor Nani and Dr. Ila Bintan.
From my point of view as a consultant for today's issue, I can say that modernization theory is still relevant in today's society. Modernization can help people in that village to develop themselves and their surrounding to be more productive in many ways. Even though today I always talk about the negative side of modernization theory, I can simply ignore the advantages of this theory at the same time to implement or emphasize this theory in Wapakan we must aware of the consequences.
In my role as a consultant, I strongly believe that the concept of modernization has to be implemented in the community of Wapakan in order to successfully combat the issue of poverty. There are certain communities that have not yet completed matured, yet those societies may benefit from using the ideology of modernization as a means of progress. In a nutshell, modernization may be seen as a process of social and cultural change.
Okay, I am grateful to both of you, Mr. Ahmed and Mr. Tree, for sharing. It would appear then the topic for today is one that both the audience and I would find quite intriguing to discuss. It enlightens us on modernization, philosophy, as well as concerns that are relevant to Pak Wakan Sarikei, which is located in Sarawak. Therefore, I would want to express my gratitude once more to Professor Nani, Dr. Ella, Mr. Ahmed, and Mr. Tree for coming to HITS FM and spending time with us. I look forward to seeing you once more at the future event. Thank you.